So we are only doing class notes today. That is it. No homework that you have to do. But once again, you could get started on it if you wanted to. We do have a classwork assignment that goes with this, and we will do that the next class period. Okay, so these are notes. That's what we're going to be working on. And let's see. I'm going to do purple and green. Okay. So we have today's date, depending on the class period, is either we're closing out the week on 12/04 or we're starting the week for 12/08. Okay, now this will be my, the 12/04 will be because on Friday we're meeting up with 3rd, 5th, or 8th. Or if you're on the start of the class, it's because we're meeting up on Tuesday, and those classes will be 2nd, 4th, or 7th. Okay, so now that we have that, what is our topic? Our topic is just going to be triangles. Okay, so we're going to talk about triangle angle sum theorem. When you have a triangle and you're trying to find the sum of the triangle, it is always 180, okay? So if I have the measure of angle A, this corner here, if I have the measure of angle B, this corner here, and I have the measure of angle C, this corner here. Whatever they are, when I add them together, so there's a plus between them, it's always 180 degrees. Now, we talked about this before on our last lesson that we did on the previous test. We talked about triangle sum, and we said that every triangle always equals 180. So if I take this, add them all together, it's always going to be 180. I don't care how big, how small you make the triangle. If it's right, acute, obtuse, equilateral, equiangular, scaling, all those fancy words we learned, they're always going to be 180. Now there's a reason why it works, and when we were in class, there was something that we did to kind of show that. Let's see if I can do that with this sticky note. So I don't have any scissors here. I wasn't prepared, but we will try it. Okay, so when you think of 180, hopefully you think of a straight line, because that's what 180 degrees is. So think of this triangle right here. Okay, so this is a triangle. Imagine that I cut these angles out. Usually we would cut them with some scissors, but I'm only cutting the corners. Okay, so I took a chunk and I bit off the corners. These corners, regardless of the size of the triangle, should always be 180 degrees. So let's test that out. I should be able to form a straight line matching up these corners. So in order to do that, I'm going to take a white sheet of paper just so you don't see this background anymore. And you don't have to do this part. This is just to explain why it's 180. Okay, so what this is saying is if I link up all of my corners, I should get 180 degrees, which is a straight line. Okay, so I'm trying to match it. And this would be something that we usually let you do in the classroom, let you guys kind of do that hands-on so you can kind of see it. It's easier if it's not these sticky notes that keep sticking to my hand, but I hope you see it now. This is a straight line for the most part. Okay, so this is, and again, I moved it 180 degrees. But, you know, I think you guys get the gist. Basically, you match them up. you get that 180-degree movement that I was trying to show you. But that's why this works. So that 180 degrees, it's not just coming off of thin air. It's because it's going to all link up to a straight line again. Okay? So now that we know that, let's move on to another theorem. So this is a theorem saying that any time that you've been given 3 angles, you always can add them up, get 180 every time, as long as it's a triangle. Okay? Some of you might have already caught this when we were looking at some of the numbers. I haven't really mentioned it because we hadn't covered it in the notes yet. But when you have an exterior angle, what is an exterior angle? It's the angle on the outside. We already talked about this before, again, on our previous notes. It's the one on that line that gets extended. So that's the exterior angle. So keep that in mind. There's an easy way to find that value if you know these two numbers. Now, yes, if we know the number beside it, we can just subtract it from 180. Like, we know that. But what if they leave that number off? Well, if they do that, you can take the two angles that are not adjacent to it. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying that they're not touching angle 1, the exterior angle, and add these two together. Okay? So, if you've been given angle 1 is exterior angle, take angle 2, add it to angle 3, because those are 2 are on the inside, and you have your value. Okay, this is a shortcut. This is a theorem. Theorems are statements that have been proven to be true because they've been tested out. Okay, so now that we know that, we're going to go through and try a few math questions. Now, if I've been given 2 of the angles, I subtract it from 180, and I get one of my angles that's missing. If I've been given 2 of the angles and I'm looking for the exterior angle, I add them and I get the number that's missing. So we'll practice that until it kind of gets burned in our brain. Okay, again, you might want a calculator for some of these numbers because you're going to be subtracting from 180. I'll write out the math and then put my answer in there. For the most part, I kind of have them already worked out. So again, I don't have to show like all the steps. Okay, first one here. I've been given 2 values, 24 and 37, and I'm missing angle 1 right here. Well, if it's an exterior angle, I add. If it's not an exterior angle, which it's not because there's no arrow, there's nothing on the outside, then this is the step that I do. 180 minus 24 minus 37. Yes, you can add these numbers first and then subtract, but it'll still work out either way. 180 minus 24 minus 37, the answer is 119 degrees. Okay, it's pretty simple to do. Next one is on the outside. Now again, this is not the only way to get the answer, but this is the shortcut way, and that's what we're going to practice. You take the 2 on the inside that are not touching angle 1, and you add them together. And that's it. 76 plus 52 is going to give you 128, and that's the angle right here. Okay, so I'm going to start highlighting the one that I'm looking for so we know that that's what I answered. Okay, next one, angle 1. Now this one's different. The angle that's missing is angle 1, but the one that's on the outside is 104. So this setup is a little bit different. We're still supposed to take the 2 on the inside, add them together, and it'll give me this. So let's set it up. Angle 1 plus 79 is equal to 104. Now that we set it up, we should be able to see that you have to subtract. So angle 1 will be that value there, which I should have just left it on the bottom. Let me just erase that because it's already got a blank there on the bottom. So it's just repetitive. Okay, so we're going to do 104 minus 79. That gives me 25. That's my answer. Okay, so just to review, if they've given me 2 of the angles and I'm missing one on the inside, subtract both of them from 180, you're done. If they give me the 2 on the inside that don't touch the outer, add them together, you're done. If they give me an outer and an inner angle and I'm missing one of the inner angles, I subtract the 2. And you're done. Okay, so you'll go back, hopefully get the hang of it. Okay, next one. This one's going to require you to, and again, you can take a sticky note and kind of focus on one triangle at a time. Don't try to do the whole thing. So there is that first triangle. So my math for this one is going to be, because I'm missing angle 1, for angle 1, I've been given 2 of the inner angles. So my step is 180 minus 66 minus 84. It's pretty simple to do. The math is just to subtract. When I get that number, I get 30. So angle 1 is 30. Now I am putting it in the picture because we might need it for our full angles. Just a warning. When they like to overlap angles, they do that. Okay, now I'm going to go to angle 2. Angle 2 is in this corner here. I'm going to look at angle 2, and I'm going to determine how I can get angle 2. Now there's a few ways I can do this, but I'm going to cover this up and see if that helps. This is actually very similar to number 3. I need angle 2. I've been given one of the angles on the inside and an angle on the outside. So here's the setup. Angle 2 plus 43 degrees is equal to 84, because here's my outer angle. Okay, so that's how we did that one. Remember, when you get something like that, you're supposed to subtract. And then that'll give you your answer for angle 2. So 84 minus 43 is going to be 41. Okay, so I'm going to put that number here. That's 41. Now I'm going to uncover this. My last angle is angle 3. Okay, now there's a few ways I can get this answer. I actually like to think of it this way. This is a straight line, so I would just do 180 minus 84. Okay, and that's going to give you 96, and that's my answer. Okay, now another way you could have done it is 180 minus 41 minus 43, and then that's still going to give you the 96. So just, know that there's way more than one way to get some of these answers. We're just going to have to get used to that. That's one of the biggest things that students struggle with in geometry, because it's not as straightforward as solve for x, here it is, solve for x, here it is. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Do not forget that this box represents 90 degrees. Okay, first we're looking for angle 1, so I'm going to find angle 1 in the picture and see if I can figure out what to do. Now again, it might help to only look at the triangle that you need to, so I'm going to cover up this part, so I'm only looking at that top triangle. Okay, I've been given 2 numbers, and I'm missing a number on the inside, so my math to find angle 1 will be 180 minus 90 minus 43. Okay, so after I subtract that, I get 47, so this number is 47. Okay, and it helps to cover up part of your picture so it doesn't get so overwhelmed with all of it. Okay, the next one is angle 2, which is right here. And again, there's a few ways to do this. Anytime it's on a straight line, it's beside an angle, I like to think of it this way. 180 minus 43, because this is a straight line. So I go straight to that. You don't have to do that. But 180 minus 43 is going to be 137. So I'm going to go ahead and write that right there and right here. Okay. Next part is angle 3. Okay, so I'm finding angle 3 now. Let's look at what we have in our pictures. So angle 3 here is in this corner. I have 2 angles on this triangle. I have a 12 and I have a 137. Now, if you don't see that, you could cover up the top one this time. The 137 is that angle 2, right? So I have 2 angles and I'm missing a third one. So your math would be 180 minus 137 minus 12. That'll give us that corner. That gives us 31. So there's your answer for that one. Okay, so these get tougher as they go. I realize that. We start putting more and more things in. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so now we get into another one where we have to find the angles. On the back, we'll have some that require us to do some parallel lines. We'll have to do some algebra work. These just get harder as they go. Okay, number 6. First thing is, I'm going to go ahead and mark that these are vertical angles. So if this is 61, this is 61. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and mark that this is 90 degrees because that's a box. And since it's a pretty small triangle, I'm just going to draw an arrow to it. Okay, now that we have that, now I can start filling in my blanks. Angle 1. The work is 2 angles have been given. So 180 minus 61 minus 68. Again, I would just use my calculator. That answer is going to be 51. Okay, angle 2 we already found. These are across from each other, no math to do, just knowing that they're vertical angles gives you 61. And I'll put the 51 here so we know that's where it came from. And then the last one, angle 3. Okay, here's the thing about angle 3. It's going to be worked out the same way angle 1 was. You've been given 180 degrees is in a triangle, you have 90 in the corner, and you have the 61 from angle 2. You subtract them all out and you get 29. This right here is 29, and that goes in my blank as well. Okay, hopefully you're getting better as it goes. Now we have 4 angles, so it's a little bit harder because now there's more. So let's look at what we have. Okay, we have a fancy word here, bisects. Bisects means it splits it in half. So let's look at BC. And it said it split ACD. Here's ACD, and it's got a box. If it got split in half, the only way that can happen is if I take 90 and I divide it by 2. Now, if you want to see the math for that, I'll put it here. But hopefully you know that like off the top of your head. So that's how I got 45 and 45. So I've got 2 blanks right there. I'm going to go ahead and write them in. Okay, now I'm going to go to angle 1. Again, might help to cover up the other triangle, and I think you'll be able to tell here which ones we have to do. So if I cover up that triangle, I've been given 2 angles, 48, 45, and angle 1 is missing. So my math will be 180 minus 48 minus 45. Okay, let's uncover that. 180 minus 48 minus 45 is going to give me 87. So there's my answer for angle 1. That was 87. Okay, last one is angle 4. Here's angle 4 on the bottom. And again, there's a few ways you can do this. I like to think of it as a triangle once again, and if you need to cover this up so you don't see everything else. Angle 4, we're going to subtract the 83 and the 45 from 180. And you get your answer because it's a leftover piece. So a lot of subtracting from 180, that's all it is. Okay, that gives you 52. Okay, take a second to take a picture if you need to of the work here. And then we're going to flip over to the back. Again, they get harder as they go, but this is the only thing we're doing today. You won't have a homework assignment to do over the weekend for the Monday, Wednesday classes. And on Tuesday classes, you still won't have a homework. You'll get one until Thursday, so it won't be so bad. Now you can, if you want to, get started on the homework. Jump ahead if you want to. The homework that goes with this one would be called homework 15. Okay. Next, we're going to go to number 8 up at the top. So now we're going to fill in these, and they get more complicated. The shapes just get more complicated, and it makes it harder. It just does. Okay, that's geometry for you. So we're going to start with angle 1, which is not too bad. It's in a triangle. You can kind of ignore the other one, but if you need to, cover it up and only look at the triangle that you're using. So that one there, hopefully you can tell that the math is going to be 180 minus 41 minus 75. Pretty simple to do to figure out what to subtract, right, for angle 1. So not bad. Angle 1 is going to be 64. So this one is 64. Okay, that was angle 1. Next, I'm going to go to angle 2. Now this one requires you to think a little bit. Here's angle 2. It's in the middle of angle 1 and a box. Now think about what you want to do to solve for this one. I'll give you a second. And then if you really want to try it on your own, pause it to see if you think you get the right setup. Because I'm about to tell you now. This is a straight line. A straight line measures 180. You subtract the 64. And remember, this box represents 90. So you also subtract the box value, which is 90. If you subtract 180 minus 64 minus 90, then you get your answer to be 26. That's that leftover piece right there. That one is 26 degrees. Okay, that one required you to think a little bit. Okay, angle 3 should be simple enough to do because it's basically how we did angle 1. You need to cover up this one here. And then the math for that one will be 180 minus 54 minus the box. And that value, I'll put an arrow, is going to be 36. Okay, so that should be your answers there. Okay, now we get into parallel lines. We get into alternate interior because they are the same. Only because they're in parallel lines, we start getting these numbers to repeat. So L is parallel to M. So L is parallel to M. Okay, because these are parallel and we have this Z here. Now, if you see it, I kind of tried to overlap it with that yellow. These corners of the Z are congruent. That's alternate interior. So if that's 49, this is 49. Only because they are alternate interior. I'll try to do another one. Here's another Z value. These corners are the same. So if that's 73, this is 73. Okay? So now that we know that, we can go through and we can get some of the answers. Now, to get angle 2, there's a few ways to do it. I can do it the way I did it here, which was to make a straight line, 180 minus these two pieces. I can do the same thing here. Straight line, 180 minus 73 and 49. But also catch that this is a triangle right here on the inside, right? So I would still do, because a triangle is always 180 minus 73 minus 49. So there's several ways to do it. Okay, let's go ahead and write in the ones we already figured out. Angle 1 is 73 because of alternate interior. Angle 4 is 49 because of alternate interior. Then we're going to go through and figure out a few more. Okay, because there is a triangle here, so I'm going to do this just a little bit differently than that one. The math is exactly the same, but the explanation is different. So because there's a triangle in the middle, and all triangles add up to 180 in order to get angle 2, so kind of ignore the fact, everything around it, I'm going to subtract the corners. 180. Get my purple line out. Okay, so 180 minus, and then one corner is 73, the other corner is 49. Subtract those out, you get your leftover piece to be 58. So I'm going to put an arrow because it's getting messy if we try to like put it in there. Okay, so there's my answer for angle 2. Okay, now to get the two remaining pieces, it's literally I like to think of them. There's a few ways you can do it. I always like to think whenever they're right beside each other, I just like to think of them as 180 minus 73 because it's a straight line. That's my go-to every time. So for angle 3, that would be 107. Now, another way you can think of it is, I'm going to circle this. This is the exterior angle. And remember, in our notes in the front, we learned that to find the exterior angle, you take the two pieces that it doesn't touch, so not the 49, the 73 and the 58, and you can get it by doing 73 plus 58. So there's a different way you can get the answer, okay? On this one, you could also do 180 minus 49, which is probably what I would do because that's the way I like to go. But know that you can also add 73 plus 58, and that number is going to be 131. That's going to be your answer there. Okay, so pretty messy, I know. Unfortunately, that's how they get, and that's how they'll be. Okay, we're going to move on to number 10. Again, we're going to fill in a few things that we know, and then a few that we don't. So they didn't give us any background, like nothing gets bisected, there's nothing parallel, so we just have to go with what's there. So the first thing I know is that I'm looking for angle 1, and it's in this corner here. And let's see, I don't have enough information on these to kind of go on angle 1, so I need to go to another one. I'm actually going to start with angle 3. I feel like I have enough on angle 3 to get started, so that's the one that I'm going to start with. I'll fill in that one and then keep going. Okay, so starting with angle 3. How am I going to find angle 3? We're based off of the fact that this one is 90, that one's 52, and I'm missing 3. To get angle 3, I would do 180 minus 90 minus 52, and that's going to give me angle 3. Angle 3 in this case would be 38. I'm going to put the number in angle 3. Okay, now that I have angle 3, I can actually find angle 2. Let's see if we can figure that one out. Well, if angle 3 is 38 and this whole box is 90, if I subtract 90 minus 38, that's going to give me angle 2 because that's the leftover piece. So I'm going to do 90 minus 38, and that's going to be 52. Okay, now that I have that value, 52 is here, 38 is here, 52 is over here, this one's 90. I can do the same thing to get angle 6. This whole thing is 90. To get angle 6, we repeat the process. I take my 90, I take the chunk out, the 52, and logically it should be the other side, so that's going to be 38. They're going to match. So angle 6 is 38. Okay, now that I have 38 in this corner and 86, I can actually find angle 5. Angle 5 is going to be 180 minus this corner and this corner. So 38 minus 86. Okay, when I subtract both of them out, I get 56. So angle 5 is 56. Okay. Now I can find angle 1, because just like we've been doing with the 90 degrees, if this whole thing is 90 and this one is 56, I'm going to do 90 minus 56. So this is a lot of subtracting from 90 because of the box there. 90 minus 56 is going to give me 34. So this one is 34. Okay, I know it's getting really messy, and I'm sorry. Okay, which ones am I missing? Angle 4 only. Okay, I'm going to circle the two numbers that are inside of this triangle. I'm going to kind of highlight the triangle, actually. We're only looking at this small triangle piece right there. To get angle 4 and the final answer, one of the corners is 52. The other corner, excuse me, is 34. Since the whole triangle, equals 180, we're going to do 180 minus 34 minus 52, and that's going to give me my answer for angle 4, that corner right there. And I'll only put it here so it doesn't get more messy inside the picture. So that's going to be 94. Okay, and that's it. A lot of subtracting from 90, and then one where we had to subtract from 180. Okay, last one where it gets messy, excuse me, and then we go to algebraic work. Just 4 questions for those. Okay. So now we have a few to answer here. We have angle 1 in this corner. We do have parallel lines. We have angle 2, which if you notice they're across, so just keep that in mind because that means we already know that one. Let's go ahead and mark the ones that are parallel. How do I know they're parallel if they didn't give me this statement here? They gave me those nice little rectangles that show that they're parallel. Okay, based off of that, there's a few things we can write that they're congruent. So I won't go and make it as messy as I did on this one, but because of that Z shape, alternate interior angles, if this one's 47, this one is 47. Okay. Let's see if there's another one. 1 and 8 will be the same, whatever those are. I think that's it for now on those. Okay, if this is vertical angles, if this is 71, then angle 2 is 71. Okay, so we know those, and let's move on from there. Okay, so I don't know angle 1 yet, but I know that the whole triangle is 180. So to get angle 1, I'm going to do 180 minus 47 minus 71, and that's going to give me my answer for angle 1, which is 62. Okay, I'm going to put a 62 there. Now, I don't know if you heard me, but 62 is angle 1. It matches because of that Z shape, that alternate interior shape. It matches with angle 8. So this one is 62. So I already know angle 8 and put that in. Go ahead and put angle 7 as well because we wrote that before. That one was 47 because of alternate interior angles. Okay, also angle 2, we already know that one was across. It's vertical, so that one's 71. So we have half of the answers already there, and we've only done one real math, arithmetic. Okay, once I find 3, I can find 5 because they're the same. Now remember, this is a straight line, so to find angle 3, all you have to do 180 minus 71. 180 minus 71 is going to give you 109. They're across from each other, so not only is 3 109, so is 5. And all you have to do now is find 4 and 6. Okay, so to find angle 4, we have 2 pieces given. Your math is going to be 180 minus 109 minus 36. And that gives you the leftover piece because this is a triangle. That's how you find that one. That one's going to be 35. Okay, let's look on the other side for 6. Same thing. I've been given 2 pieces. I subtract those out and I get my answer. So that's going to be 180 minus 109. So that's the same. But then this corner has an arrow that says 42. Subtract that out. And that's going to give you 29. Okay. Write those in if you need to. Pause it here if you need to take a picture of anything. And then we'll move on to the algebraic part. You have to find x, and then you have to find each measure. So all of these here we have to plug back in. Okay, so now we get into algebraic work. Once we're done with this 4, that's it for the notes. Again, no homework right now, but you can try homework if you want to. You can get started on it, but we'll have a classwork assignment first just to get more practice in, and then I'll assign the homework. Okay, so solve for x, then find each measure, which is a fancy way of saying just plug it in. Well, anytime that they give me everything on the inside of a triangle, it's very simple what they want you to do. They want you to take and put all 3 parts on the inside, because even though these look like they're on the outside, the arrows are pointing towards the inside. And they just want you to take all 3 and set them equal to 180. That's it. Okay, so the setup is going to be 9x plus 3 plus 5x minus 2 plus 11x minus 21, set it equal to 180. Anytime they give you all three parts on the inside, that's what you do. Now, here's the difficult part. Some of you guys do not know how to combine like terms on the same side, so that will make this difficult for you to be able to solve. Okay, so when they're on the same side, and I'll slow down a little bit on this one to show you that, you don't change the sign, you just do whatever it says in front of the number. So 9 plus 5, it's 14, plus 11, 25. Put an X with it. Now let's do the numbers. 3 minus 2, that's 1, minus 21, that's negative 20. And you can take a calculator for that because I know the negative numbers kind of trick you up. But notice that I didn't change any signs. I literally did whatever it had in front of the number to do. Now, when you bring it to the other side, you will change the sign. So now I'm bringing the positive 20 to the other side. And I get 25x is equal to 200. I divide by 25. X is equal to 8. Now that's not my final answer. I have to plug it back in. So I didn't leave a lot of space, but 8 is my first blank, and now I have to plug it back in. So the good thing about this one is you don't have to guess. There's already an equation there. So for angle D, this is what I'm going to plug into the calculator. 5 times 8 minus 2. You can do this in your head. 5 times 8 is 40, minus 2 is 38. Okay. Angle E is the next one. Now, do not make the mistake of putting the wrong number in the blank, so always go in order. Angle E is 9 times 8 plus 3. You can do this one in your head as well. Okay, 9 times 8 is 72, plus 3 is going to be 75. There's that answer. And then the last one, angle F equals 11 times 8 minus 21. Now this is 88 minus 21, and that's going to give you 67. So there's that answer. Okay, I'm going to kind of just put that out to the side so you know that that was work you could have done, you know, on the calculator. Should have left a little bit more space out to the side. Okay, those are your 4 answers. I challenge you to do the next one on your own. Set it up exactly the same way. It's not different at all. Add them all up, set them equal to 180, solve for x, and then plug it back in. Now that you know that we have to kind of plug them back in, maybe leave a little bit more or lean over a little bit more to this side so we don't run into the work. Okay, so pause it here, try it on your own, then check your work, unpause it. Okay. So everything's on the inside, so once again, I'm taking everything here and I'm adding it up, setting it equal to 180. I start with my x's. 4 plus 10 is 14, plus 1x is 15x. And I go to my numbers, negative 22, minus 4 is negative 26. Add 11, I get negative 15. Okay, now I am bringing the 15 over to the other side, so I change the sign. 15x is equal to 195. Divide by 15 on both sides. X is equal to 13. Now I need to plug this in to P, Q, and R. So start with P. 10 times 13 minus 4. Now you could do this one in your head. 10 times 13 is 130. Minus 4 is going to be 126. And I forgot to write X. This one was 13. Okay, the next one is Q. So again, look at the blanks so you don't accidentally put them in the wrong one. 4 times 13 minus 22. Put that in my calculator and I get 30. Okay, and the last one is angle R. That is 13 plus 11. That is 24. Okay, so very straightforward with that one. Now we get into some different ones. They didn't give me all 3 on the inside. They gave me something on the outside. And they gave me 2 pieces on the inside. Here are my 2 pieces on the inside. Now it looks complicated because you get used to doing something and then you realize, well, now we have to switch it up. But it is actually not more complicated. from the property, the second theorem on the front of our notes, you take these two and you add these. Remember, you take these two, you add them, and you set them equal to the outside one. And that's it. Solve for x and then plug it back in. This is what's going to hang you up, being able to figure out which angle you're plugging in, because that's where some of you guys mess up. Okay, so set up 13x minus 11 plus 4x plus 1 is equal to 18x minus 15. And we're going to solve for our variable. So we have 13 and 4. Hi, baby. And then we have negative 11 plus 1, that's negative 10, equals 18x minus 15. Okay, we're going to move our smaller x towards our larger x because I don't like to deal with negative x's. Bring down negative 10 is equal to 1x, so it's just x, minus 15. Add 15 to the other side. That's a fancy way of saying 10 or 15 minus 10, which is just 5. So my answer is x equals 5. Okay, now remember we have to plug this back in. So x is equal to 5, and then we have angle CAB. Now this is where it gets a little bit difficult because you have to figure out which one is going to be the correct one. So CAB in the picture follows C, A, and B. This corner right here. So that's going to be this value. So that's going to be 13 times 5 minus 11. If I don't pick the right one, I'm not plugging into the right one, and these answers are wrong. Okay, 13 times 5 minus 11 is going to give me a value of 54. Okay, next one, ABC. ABC. It's going to be this corner right here. So it's going to be this angle, 4x plus 1. So angle ABC is equal to 4 times 5 plus 1. You should be able to do that one in your head. That's 20 plus 1, so that's just 21 degrees. Okay, ACB. Now this one is kind of a trick question. I'm going to highlight it. There is no equation on ACB. ACB is this one right here. So there's a few ways to do this one. Now, here's what I would do. Since I already know 54 and 21, I'm going to write them in the triangle. This one's 54, and this one's 21. Well, we know that all three have to add up to 180. So if I want to find this orange piece, all I have to do is what we've been doing in all the others. I'll kind of do it out here in this white space. 180 minus 54 minus 21. This is one way you can do it, okay? When you subtract it out, you get your value to be 105. Okay, and then the last one, DCB. DCB is this one over here. It's that outer one. It's the one highlighted in yellow. So angle DCB is equal to 18 times 5 minus 15. Okay, that's going to be that one right there. And that's going to be 75. Now, another way you could have gotten that answer is, remember, you take these two and you add them. So to check it, 54 plus 21, 4 and 1 make 5, 5 and 2 make 7. So yes, these two add up to 75. Okay, last one will be done the same way. If you want to get the practice in, you can pause it here and try to see if you can do number 15 on your own. It is done the exact same way we did the other. Add the 2 on the inside, set it equal to the 1 on the outside, and then you have to be very careful on what you plug in. If you don't want to pause it, I'm going to continue now. So here's my outer one. Here are the 2 that I'm going to set equal to, or add together and set equal to the one here. Okay, so here's my setup. 5x minus 27 plus 7x minus 32 is equal to 9x minus 8. I combine 5 and 7 first. That's going to be 12x. Then I do negative 27 and negative 32 minus 59. You add them together and keep a negative. Equals the other side. Again, move your smaller x towards your larger x so you don't get those negatives. 12 minus 9 is going to be 3x minus 59. So bring that down. Is equal to negative 8. Don't forget the negative on the 8. Add 59. 3x is equal to, so this is a fancy way of saying 59 minus 8, so that's 51. Divide by 3. You probably need a calculator because you probably don't know off the top of your head what 51 divided by 3 is. That is 17. Okay, so there's my answer. Now, put that one in here, and then we have to plug in. So first I'm going to find JKL. JKL, this corner here. Looking at the arrow, that would be this one. So I'm going to go JKL will be 7 times 17 minus 32. I plug that in, I get 87. Okay, next one, KJL. KJL is this corner here. Okay, so angle KJL, KJL will be 5 times 17 minus 27. Okay, plug that in. That value is 58. And again, now that we've done the top one, you can kind of cheat. If you're looking for KLM, which is the outside one, you can add these two numbers together and that's going to give you that. I wouldn't do that. I would go ahead and plug it in and check it and make sure that that's what I get, that these two added together give you that number. It's just kind of a check. Now, remember, before we get to that one, there is a tricky one that they do, KLJ. This one here that has no value on it at all. There's a few ways you can do it, but if you want to do it the same way we did the other one, write in the values that you got first for this one. So that was 87. And then this one was 58. And then remember, I'm going to circle those. 180 is the total amount in a triangle. So in order to get this leftover piece, you will do 180 minus 58 minus 87. After you subtract those out, you get 35. So this value is 35. Okay, again, that's not the only way, just showing you one way. And then the last one that we have to plug in is angle KLM. If you look, I was highlighting it in orange. KLM is this corner right here on the outside, so that's going to be in yellow. So that's going to be 9 times 17 minus 8, and that's going to give you 145 degrees. Okay, to check to see if that one's right. 7 plus 8 is 15, so there's 5. Carry the 1. 8 and 5 make 13 plus 1 more, 14. So 145 is correct. Okay, so we're officially done with the notes. Now this was quite a bit, but again, giving you a break. No homework this time. We're not jumping into the classwork. Take it easy, but if you haven't done the other homework, start catching up, because remember, we do have a homework quiz coming up the last week you are in classes in December, and do not let it sneak up on you, because literally we're already in December. So, you know, it's faster than you think. Okay, in case you're wondering, next class period, we will work on our classwork, and then you will be assigned homework number 15, I believe. 16, sorry, 16. Okay, then after that, did I say that wrong? Sorry, 15. I was wrong. I was jumping in. Okay, so we'll do our classwork. You'll be assigned homework 15 also with that one. Then we have one more set of notes. Then you'll be assigned homework 16. There is no classwork for that one. And then finally you'll test. So I do have the dates now. So just to make sure that I'm saying it right. Okay, so we'll have a homework quiz. I had said them before wrong on the other video, so let's fix that. Your homework quiz will be on Monday, December the 14th for Monday classes, on Tuesday, December the 15th for Tuesday classes. Then After that, it'll be a Wednesday, Thursday. You have your actual test that you have to do, that you know, for the unit. On Friday, the 18th, you do not have to take a test unless you missed the test the day before. So that's it. Okay? And then you're on your break. And you will have a new teacher. You will not hear from me again unless you absolutely need to. But feel free to ask me for help if you want to, because even though I'm not a teacher for the rest of the semester, I am smart and a math teacher. So if you are stuck on something and want some help, I'd be happy to help if you reach out to me as long as I can. Okay, so I'll stop the video here. And we'll see each other next class period.